season? These are all questions that I want to know the answer to. Who will be the best quarterback in the NFC? Jalen Hurts, is last year an aberration, or was 2022 the outlier when he was able to guide this team to the Super Bowl and finish second in MVP voting? Those are all the things that I want to know. But I think who the best quarterback in the conference will go a long ways to determining who the number one overall seed will be in the conference and who will get that coveted first-round bye in the postseason. This is a huge question. Now, for my money, it should be Jalen Hurts, given everything that the Philadelphia Eagles have surrounded him with. I mean, they've got Jordan Mailata. They've continued to upgrade along the offensive line. They just paid A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They gave Saquon Barkley a ton of money. I mean, there are really no excuses as to why Jalen Hurts can't have success, even though Jason Kelce did retire. Jason Kelce, a couple of years ago, handpicked his successor in Cam Jurgens. So there is no excuse for why Jalen Hurts can't have success. And as Jalen Hurts goes is how that Eagles teams go, as we saw in 2023. So to me, for my money, that's who the best quarterback in the NFC should be. Not sure that's who the best quarterback in the NFC will be.
Okay, this is a super interesting question. You guys know I don't get involved in who's the best necessarily or try to rank, right? I always say I put quarterbacks and teams for that matter in groups. That it's not, I don't get lost in this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. But the thing is Jalen Hurts has also been a hot topic of discussion. And people want to act like Jalen Hurts is a scrub, a bum, not good, carried by his team and all of this. And it just doesn't really make sense to me, honestly, how you can have success. And they always just want to keep saying, oh, he's only had one season. And it's not true, because he's had more than just one season. Because first of all, last season wasn't an absolute disaster for him. He didn't just play god-awful where he should be a backup quarterback. He was also injured. And then the season before that, he balled out and would have won an MVP, but unfortunately got injured. He was leading MVP right up until he hurt his shoulder, went to the Super Bowl, absolutely balled out, and played the second best Super Bowl in NFL history. That's not an opinion. That's what the stats show. Then, and yet people want to just act like that's not impressive. And the year before that, there was a slow start, but then as soon as Shane Steichen took over, the offense got going, and he led that team and got to the playoffs without an A.J. Brown. Like, that is impressive. That matters. Those things matter. Okay? So it's just unbelievable that people want to go out of their way to bring down Jalen Hurts or act like he's not that good when he's done something that majority of the quarterbacks in the NFL have not done. And that is absolutely, positively ball out in a Super Bowl. You guys are acting like that's easier, like that's an outlier. But it's that it's an outlier for Jalen. But none of these other quarterbacks did that. You guys know I like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy did not know that. You guys know I like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow did not do that. You guys know I like Josh Allen. Josh Allen did not do that. Jordan Love has not done that. I think Jordan Love's a great quarterback and is going to be a big star in the future in the NFL. If not, he's already a star. So I'm super high on Jordan Love. Jordan Love did not do that. Jordan Love did not play a single playoff game as good as Jalen Hurts has played in the Super Bowl. We can't discredit how important it is to be able to play at the literal highest level. Because that's the biggest issue that people have with a Dak Prescott, is that he can't win the big game. He can't even play good in the big game. That he underperforms in all of the big moments. And then you have like someone like Jalen Hurts who proved that he can do it, and people want to act like that's not a big deal. Like, what are we talking about here? It doesn't make sense. And people want to talk about his fumble. I've said this again and again and again. Quarterbacks turn the ball over. It happens. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 5 interceptions in 4 Super Bowls. 5 interceptions in 4 Super Bowls. That's a lot of interceptions. So to use that now as, well, Jalen Hurts actually lost the Eagles the Super Bowl because of that fumble. Okay, sure. Whatever you say. So it just doesn't really make sense that we always want to pick and choose when we want certain variables to matter, right? With Dak Prescott, it's, well, he can't win. He doesn't play good in the big moments. He chokes. Okay, so if that's the case, then you have to say, well, look what Jalen Hurts did in the literal Super Bowl. Therefore, he does not choke. Therefore, he is a great quarterback. But they're like, no. He hasn't done it long enough. It's like, okay, well, then under that logic, Dak Prescott has won a lot of games over his career. So then is he a great quarterback? What about Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow has put up numbers, has balled out, has struggled with staying healthy, but he hasn't won the Super Bowl. Is he a great quarterback? What about Josh Allen? Josh Allen can't win an AFC championship game, can't get past the Chiefs. He balls out. Is he a great quarterback? So it's like, so what is the standard then for a great quarterback? We say CJ Stroud's a great quarterback. He's already skyrocketed at the top of the list for a lot of people, like based off of one season. So if he doesn't play as elite as he did last season, does that mean that he's no longer a great quarterback? Does that mean that he just had like an outlier year? How about Justin Herbert? Justin Herbert had an amazing rookie year. Hasn't been able to recapture that for very specific reasons, coaching, health, players. And some people seem to be divided on him, whether he's elite or not. Trevor Lawrence, he's only had kind of like one good season, it's seen. People use this playoff game as a reference point. Look what he did. He won a playoff game, but he also threw 1 million interceptions in that playoff game. So it's like, so where do you stand there? So it just seems like the only thing that people can truly agree upon is that Patrick Mahomes is an elite quarterback. But everyone else gets this whole, well, he hasn't done this, well, he hasn't done that, well, he can't win, he can't do this, he can't do that. And it's like, so what is the barrier to entry to be considered elite? You have to just win multiple Super Bowls? Because majority of quarterbacks lose and don't get to the Super Bowl. That's just what happens in life. So I just don't get, like, majority of the years, Tom Brady did not win a Super Bowl. The vast majority of the years, he did not win a Super Bowl. Does that mean that Tom Brady's not a great quarterback? We obviously know that answer. We know players like Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. The best quarterbacks in the NFL history. Some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL history. They consistently did not win Super Bowls or even get to Super Bowls. So does that mean that they're not elite? Does that mean that they choke? Everyone wants to talk about Aaron Rodgers choking now. Like all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers is a choke artist. And same thing with Peyton Manning. It's just absurd to me. Just because you don't win and don't win consistently at the highest level, like winning Super Bowls year after year after year, that means you're suddenly not elite. That does not make sense. And so I'm just confused, though, why we look at Jalen Hurts' resume, how he was able to go and do something that majority of quarterbacks have never done and will never do. Play as good as you can get in a Super Bowl. We talk about the Super Bowl being the most important thing. What good are you as a quarterback if you could get to the Super Bowl, but then you just choke and are a bum in the biggest moment? What good are you? Nobody would want that. If I said, I got a quarterback for you, I got any type of player for you, he is going to ball out during the regular season. Ball out. But he can't take the high pressure situations. And if you were to get to the Super Bowl, you can't depend on him because I don't know what's going to happen there. Would you want to build your team around him? You would say, no, I'd rather take my chances with someone else. What are we talking about here? Well, Jalen Hurts proved to you that he could absolutely ball out. And yet people want to act like that's not impressive or that was just a one-off thing. Well, if it's such an easy thing to do as a one-off thing, then please tell me why none of these other players did it. Why didn't Joe Burrow absolutely ball out in that Super Bowl? Why hasn't Josh Allen? Why hasn't Jordan Love? Why hasn't CJ Stroud? Like, why haven't these other quarterbacks done it? Dak Prescott, go ahead. Dak Prescott's had ample opportunity to ball out. And he hasn't. So it just does not make sense to me. It really, really doesn't. So, listen, I'm not going to come here and tell you that I think Jalen Hurts is going to be the best quarterback in the NFC, because that's not really a conversation that I'm personally interested in having, because I think when it comes down to it, a lot of these quarterbacks are very similar in terms of what they can achieve with their teams. And I think the teams, right? How can I compare who Brock Purdy has with the 49ers and compare that to who CJ Stroud has with the Texans, or Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, or Patrick Mahomes has with Andy Reid, and compare that to Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni? So I'm not interested in doing that, because there's just way too many variables that I have talked at lengths as to why I think it's so hard to compare quarterbacks in that regard. So that's why I just put them in categories. And listen, is Jalen Hurts Patrick Mahomes? The answer is no. But is Jalen Hurts a top quarterback in the NFL? Absolutely, positively, yes. He's, at the very least, he's proven that he can handle the moment. Something that a lot of quarterbacks have unable to prove. That's the reality. That's the reality. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Jalen Hurts will be the top quarterback in the NFC? And do you think he's just a top quarterback in general? Or do you think he's grossly overrated, had an outlier year, and is not that special? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.